What's going on, Bakucrew and fellow Bakugan enthusiasts? BakuBrad96 here with another subscriber requested deck profile. This is the third one since Evolution started, so if you have a suggestion or a team you would like to see built of recently unboxed Bakugan on my channel, or that you know I have, feel free to leave that in the comments down below. But for today's video, this is going to be a Aquos Darkus build, and the collaboration is from yours truly and Nightcore by Design. He recently uploaded quite a few awesome decks. I will have one of them linked in the description below. Go ahead, check him out, show him the same awesome support you show me. Speaking of support, I know I have recently hit 500 subscribers. What a giant milestone that is. Thank you all so much. I do have a video coming up that will commemorate that goal mark. Hopefully it will be uploaded tomorrow at some point. Back to this video, however, it is quite the deck. I'm going to go ahead and start out with the team I am using. So first off, it is going to be Darkus Blitz Fox, double magic shield Bakugan B power of 800 with 5 damage. Just really strong, you know, using the 650 blue shield. You're talking about a Bakugan that hits 1450 easy, and when I did unbox this one, I did prove it does double core. Just stellar Bakugan. Now, the next Bakugan I'm using is Aqua's Platinum Nelius. Again, it is a double magic shield Bakugan with a B power of only 100, but the upside is that 7 damage, and if it lands on a magic shield, you do get to steal a Bakucrew from an opposing active Bakugan and place it on your own. A very helpful mechanic, especially now with Nanogan and everything going off this year. But 2 blue shield definitely helps with that B power as well. Even though it only hits 750 by itself, there are plenty ways to utilize not only its new mechanic, but the deck itself, or the deck I have built. The final Bakugan I'm using is a Geogun Rising Bakugan, but definitely needed for the double orange shield core. B power of 600 with 3 damage. This is of course Ninjaton. When it lands on a orange shield, it is going to get an extra plus 500 boost. Now with the orange shield I run in this deck, that is not only going to be 1100, but it's actually going to be 1500, so a lot of power. I did choose Ninjaton for the B power over Oxidox because Oxidox doesn't get quite as strong as Ninjaton, but it does have 8 damage. So you really have to choose whether you want to go the damage route or the B power route, and in this particular instance I did choose B power. Now for the core lineup, really simple. As you can see, I am sporting the OG Bakucrew, the Battle Planet Gray. So I am using 4 plus 650 B power magic shield. You know, it's just the best you can get. You want all the B power for as much of a chance at a win you can get. And then finally for the orange shield, again the same reason. Aquos and Darkus get plus 400 B power. I don't generally use the faction buffs because you can help your opponent in a lot of cases. But in this particular build, you know, it was requested, and I wanted to maximize as much as I could what they wanted, what I wanted, as best deck I could get, pretty much. If that makes any sense. Blah. I know that was a mouth jumble of words there. But going to quickly show off the Bakugan figures because you can't have a deck profile without them. This is, of course, the awesome Darkus Blitz Fox. Such an amazing Bakugan. You've got that magenta there with the light blue, and of course the silver accents on the back of the tail. Just an epic Bakugan, and it double cores, so even better. And then the only platinum on the team, but it is an awesome platinum. It is, of course, the Aquos Nelius. Really like how they did a full chrome metal there interior rather than paint it. It just makes it stand out a lot more against the light blue. You get a very good contrast. And then an older Bakugan, but still really cool. Reminds me of the Legacy Series Robotalion or Warriors, but this is Ninjaton. This deck does use Nanogan, but I'm going to hold off on popping those open because right now I'm getting straight into the deck. Starting off with Aquos Overwhelm, 1 energy for plus 200 B power. It does have boost, so if you have 7 or more energy cards in play, it's actually plus 600 instead. That's hardly ever what it's going to be used for. You want the 1 energy for 200, because even that little amount is going to matter when your Bakugan are hitting 1400, 1500, and so on. Next up, excuse me, my favorite card, Body Crusher. 1 energy for minus 4 damage, and you do get to scan. The scan plays into this deck like maybe 5% in total, but you really just want that minus 4 damage to help against opponent team attacks and just attacks that get through. And then 2 Deep Dive, 1 energy to draw 1, and then you may reroll your Bakugan. I don't have to stress enough how important it is to reroll your Bakugan, especially if you're like me and you miss every time. And then 2 Nilius Annihilator. I had to. Nelius was on the team. But not really. 1 energy for 300 isn't bad. If a scan or scrounge allows you to look at this card on top of the deck, you can reveal it for plus 600. So kind of like the same deal with the boost. If you do get to use it, 1 for 6 is awesome. Otherwise, 1 for 2, and then with Nilius Annihilator, 1 for 3 just really helps early game. Not so much late game, but at the first few turns, it is good. 2 Thunderbolts in the deck just to help with damage. 1 energy for plus 3. It's an older card, but I feel like it is useful. And then Chomping Tornado, 2 of these as well. 2 energy for plus 500 B power. 2 for 5 is just really strong. One of the best you can get in my opinion. So of course it's going to be in here because obviously this is a B power deck. This deck always wants to win the brawl. And then it can ping in for damage however necessary. Another defensive card though, 2 Darkus Petrify, 2 energy for minus 5 damage. Just helps against those opponent attacks. Then I do use a hero, probably my favorite that I have, Lightning, so I do have 2 of him. 2 energy for when you open a Bakugan, it gets plus 3 damage. It does stack and it just helps out because the deck doesn't have a lot of damage adding cards per se. Like I said before, it focuses on B power. Lightning is just a way to get in damage without having to focus all of your resources or spend all of your resources on a given turn. Next up, Shadow Slicer, 2 energy for plus 400 B power. Not as good as Chomping Tornado, but Shadow Slicer does let you scan, and with cards like Nilius Annihilator and just how you want to set up your plays, it could be important. Same reason for Throw Anything, 2 for 4, again worse than Chomping Tornado, but the fact that you get Shadow Strike on top of that makes this card worth running at least 2 of. Going on though, moving forward, so Flip Strike, 3 energy for plus 700 B power, just a really solid card, just adds a good amount of B power. Improvised Armor is here for card draw. I put it in a lot of my Aquos builds. 3 energy for plus 2 damage, and then you get to draw 2. Could help in certain situations, and again, you do get a little damage added to your attacks. I am running one of the Crest Stormer's Bakugear. It is a 4 energy cost card for an armor rating of 2, which I like to see because that can at least soak up some damage if it's sitting in deck. Otherwise, when it flips from your deck, you can pay 2 to draw 1, or it gives plus 400 B power and 2 damage to the Bakugan you equip it to. A pretty solid Bakugear. I wish I had more. Unfortunately, I only have the 1. But moving along, Monstrous Surge, 4 energy for plus 800 B power. It does have the sync, so you may reveal a card in your hand that costs 2 energy for plus 4 damage. This is a card I like to use a whole lot of, even though I don't use it in tandem with the Darkest Night, which is a combo I like to use often in this build. I do use it because a lot of the cards do cost 2 energy, and you are going to be able to get the sync effect off. Another hero I run, it is a one of. It's going to be Shun Bakugan Brawler. 5 energy for a hero that just sticks around in your Bakugan, get plus 200. Nothing bad to say about that. And then I am running more Bakugear cards. This is Telekinesis Crown. 6 energy for the armor rating of 2, which is really nice. Again, just like the Crest Stormers. And then this one gives you 600 B power and 6 damage, which is really huge. 6 energy is a lot of cost. Here, honestly, if I did have them, I would probably cut the 2 Telekinesis Crown to run the Crest Stormers at 3, but they're a good replacement otherwise. Moving on to the flip cards, I am using 2 Darkest Snare, 0 energy to block a Bakugan holding a magic shield. Since this deck uses so many magic shields, I figured why not? There is a high probability the opponent is going to land on them from time to time, and that flip card helps. Same thought behind Deep Freeze, 1 energy to block a Bakugan holding a orange shield or a Helix. You are using the orange shield, so stop your opponent that either uses them or lands on your own. Fluid Form, 1 energy to block a Aquos or Fusion Bakugan. Just coverage card. Sonic Shield, 1 energy to block a Bakugan holding a green or red fist. Again, if the opponent is using them, just helps. Weapons of Darkus, 1 energy to block a Darkus or Fusion Bakugan for the other side of coverage against our team, I suppose. Creeping Darkus, 4 energy to block a non-fusion Bakugan, and if you do, choose a player, discard a card. Pretty cool, just a way to block, non-fusion attacks at a higher cost, I suppose. But then finally, the last flip card I run is Sneaky Squid. 4 energy to block a non-fusion Bakugan, and if you do, draw 1. So just a little bit of card draw there. Again, it stops non-fusion Bakugan. But the last part of the deck, or I should say the side deck, is of course the Nanogan I run. I am using Darkest Nano Siphon, which on a Magic Shield or Blue Shield plus 300 B power, and then on a Magic Shield or Blue Shield and Orange Shield plus 500 B power. So with this particular team, it just fits very well. Thought it would be a good Nanogan to use. And then lastly, it is Nano Widow. This is Aquos Nano Widow. Blue, if you couldn't tell. But on an Orange Shield plus 200 B power, and then on double Orange Shield plus 600 B power. So really good. It just really fits the team perfectly as far as the core that the deck runs. And I thought it would be good to use at least a couple. I know I don't have a full 3, but none of the other Aquos or Darkest Nanogan that I had I thought would really work. There would be no point in using them if I couldn't actually use them. But as far as folding them out, they are manual. This is the Darkest Siphon, looking like a weird little leech. And then finally, Aquos Widow, or Baby Webam, as I like to refer to them, because it definitely kind of looks like Webam. But that will do for this deck profile. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. Before you leave, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more Bakugan deck profiles. I do have another one that will be uploading this evening. A lot of content planned, so stay tuned. And until next time, Bakugan Brawl.